Have you ever looked at a simple task, like folding a basket of laundry or wiping down the counters, and felt an invisible wall standing in your way? It's not that you're lazy, and it's certainly not that you don't care. It's simply that your energy battery works differently than it did 20 years ago. Today, at Silver Life Hacks 65 Plus, we're stopping the cleaning guilt. I'm going to show you a simple system called the energy budget that lets you keep a home you're proud of without ending the day in pain or total exhaustion. Let me start by telling you about a woman named Dorothy who wrote to me last month. Dorothy is 78, and she told me that for years she thought something was wrong with her because she couldn't clean her house the way she used to. She'd start in the kitchen, move to the living room, and by the time she got to the bedroom, her hands were shaking and her lower back felt like it was on fire. She kept pushing through anyway, because that's what she always did. That's the trap so many of us fall into, and it's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The problem, the all or nothing trap. Most of us were raised with a certain standard. We think if we start the kitchen, we have to finish the kitchen. But at 70 or 80, that all or nothing mindset is a recipe for burnout. I've read your comments. You've told me, I want to do it, but my body just says no. That no is important. It's your body being an honest accountant. Today, we're going to learn how to listen to that accountant. Dorothy's story is a perfect example of this trap. She told me that she used to feel ashamed sitting down in the middle of a cleaning task, like she was admitting defeat. She'd grown up watching her own mother clean an entire farmhouse. But here's what I want you to understand. That standard was never sustainable, even when you were young. It's simply easier to ignore the cost when you're 30. The cost doesn't disappear with age. It just becomes impossible to hide from. Another woman, Margaret, who's 81 and lives alone in Ohio, told me something that broke my heart a little. She said she used to apologize to her late husband's photograph on the mantle whenever she didn't get the whole house done in one day, as if she owed him a spotless home. I want to gently say this to Margaret and to all of you listening. You don't owe anyone a perfect house. Not your spouse, not your grown children, not your neighbors, and certainly not yourself. You're allowed to rest in the middle. A shower? That's 2 units. Making a full meal? That's 3 units. Wiping the golden zone, meaning the counters and surfaces you see most, that's 1 unit. The secret isn't working faster. It's choosing where those units go. If you only have 2 units left and the floor is dusty, but your favorite show is on and you need to rest, spend those units on yourself. The floor will still be there tomorrow, but your health is non-negotiable. I think about a woman named Helen, who's 74 and started using this system about 6 months ago. Helen told me she used to feel guilty turning on her television in the afternoon if there were dishes in the sink. She'd sit there, technically resting, but her mind would be racing with everything undone. Once she started thinking in units instead of in tasks, something shifted for her. She said, I did my 2 units today. I washed my face, made myself a real lunch instead of crackers, and wiped down my counter. That's enough. And she meant it. She told me that for the first time in years, she watched her show without that nagging voice in the back of her head. This is the heart of the energy budget. It's not about doing less because you're somehow less capable. It's about being a wiser accountant of a resource that is genuinely more limited now and treating that resource with the respect it deserves. 3 gentle rules for success. Now, let's talk about 3 gentle rules that will help you put this budget into practice. Rule 1 is the mandatory rest. For every 15 minutes you move, you must sit for 15. No exceptions. I know this might sound rigid, but rigid in this one specific way is actually freeing. A woman named Joan, who's 83, told me this rule changed everything for her because it gave her permission. She said before she felt like she needed an excuse to sit down, some kind of justification. Now, the timer tells her to sit, so she sits. And there's no guilt attached because she's simply following the system. Joan keeps a little kitchen timer on her counter now, and when it goes off, she doesn't think twice. She just sits. Rule 2 is the visibility win. If you only have the energy for one thing, clean the spot where you sit most. If that's clean, your brain feels calm. I heard from a woman named Ruth, who's 79, about how this rule helped her through a particularly hard winter when her arthritis was flaring badly. She couldn't do much most days, but she focused everything she had on her reading chair and the little side table next to it. She kept that one corner tidy, with a clean blanket and a clear table, and she said it made the rest of the house feel less overwhelming. Her eyes would land on that one peaceful corner first, and it set the tone for how she felt in her own home. Rule 3 is to use your tools. Stop trying to do it the hard way. If a lightweight cordless vacuum or a reaching tool saves you half a unit of energy, it's worth its weight in gold. Patricia, who's 76, resisted buying a lightweight vacuum for years because she felt like using a fancy gadget was somehow cheating, or admitting she couldn't handle her old, heavy upright anymore. Her daughter finally bought her one as a gift. Patricia told me that the first time she used it, she nearly cried. Not from sadness, but from relief. She said it felt like getting 20 minutes of her life back every single time she used it. Tools are not a surrender. Carol used to spend her entire Saturday cleaning, collapsing into bed exhausted and sore, and then spending Sunday recovering instead of enjoying it. After she started using the energy budget, she spread small tasks across the whole week instead of cramming them into one day. She rested between each task the way Rule 1 asks. She kept her favorite reading nooks spotless using Rule 2. And she invested in a few simple tools, like a long-handled duster, following Rule 3. Carol told me that for the first time since her hip surgery a few years back, she finished her week feeling proud instead of depleted. She said the house wasn't perfect, but neither was she trying to be, and that distinction made all the difference. A clean home is a gift you give to yourself, not a test you have to pass for anyone else. You've worked hard your whole life. You don't have to prove anything to your vacuum cleaner.
I think about Dorothy again, the woman I mentioned at the beginning. A few weeks after she started this system, she wrote to me again. She said she sat down in the middle of mopping her kitchen floor, looked at her half-finished floor, and instead of feeling that old familiar shame, she felt something closer to peace. She told herself, "I've spent my units wisely today." And then she made herself a cup of tea and sat by the window for a while. That's the kind of shift we're working toward together. Not perfection, but peace. Not exhaustion, but pride in a gentler kind.
Your stories are what make this community so special. I'm so glad you're here with us at Silver Life Hacks 65+. I'll see you in the next video.